All right. This is Matt Minich's Bengals Chalk Talk. So the combine is over and we are moving on and we are talking about free agency. Free agency quickly approaching. And Zach Taylor says he is on the same page with management and that they know that they need to go out and be active in the free agent market to make the changes that this team needs. Fans are understandably skeptical, given the past, but then again, there have been times in the past when the Bengals have been active, have gone out and spent, and sometimes it's an aging TO, but it was still a big splash. It's a Cedric Benson, and they did get some guys in the past, but unfortunately, in recent history, we've looked to guys like Kevin Minter, we've looked to guys like Carlos Dansby when it came to free agency, kind of plugging holes with guys that were past their prime and came at a reduced price. So we'll see. I mean, to not to invoke Marvin Lewis, but we'll see. Is what it comes down to here. But hey, let's be optimistic for now. I mean, really, that's what being a Bengals fan is, right? This is March. If you can't, be optimistic now, I don't know how you can survive as a Bengals fan. Because we've had so many bad falls. Like, hey, you gotta be hopeful at least now. Don't get your hopes up, but be hopeful. So we're gonna take a look at some of the top free agent options. Really, we're gonna take a look at 5 guys at 2 positions that the Bengals could look to add. And the first one we'll talk about is Corey Littleton. Been a very popular name, talked about in the fan base for quite some time. Corey Littleton, of course, coming from the Los Angeles Rams, where head coach Zach Taylor came from as well. All right, he's linebacker number 58. So he is a guy, great hustle, excellent in pursuit, speedy, good job on breaks and coverage. He's got that sideline to sideline speed that has been lacking in this position group. So definitely see some real positive things out of Littleton. Breaks in zone, makes good, tackles in the pass game, which I think is something that they've really lacked for a couple years, where they were missing tackles left and right after the completion. Definitely, good awareness of what's going on in front of him. And we'll take a look at this clip here against the Arizona Cardinals that really demonstrates that. Whether he's spying the quarterback, seeing the check down, he can really break, and he sees the stuff that's going on in front of him and gets down there with great speed. So coming down here on Kyler Murray, as Murray looks to scramble, all right, he's aware, excuse me, go back and play here. All right. He's aware of what's going on, where Murray's at all the time. All right. Breaks on him as he looks to break contain and keep going downfield, as Murray does, that is, and makes a great play. So obviously with the Bengals, playing in Lamar Jackson's division, and, that's what it is for the foreseeable future, a guy like that is going to come in handy. And Baker Mayfield to, a lesser extent, but still a good extent, a guy that can make some plays on the outside of, of the original play, making that second play. So having a guy that has that kind of burst and can break down and get in there and make those plays, that's going to be huge. So Littleton shows that ability. He's definitely an upgrade, speed-wise, athletically. And amongst the players in free agency, not only does he have a great burst, great athletic profile, but one of the more reliable tacklers as well. So he really brings some positives to the picture. So here we're going to have a look at Littleton in coverage earlier in the year against the San Francisco 49ers. And actually, the guy that's going to get the ball here is George Kittle. So big part of playing linebacker, being able to match up, make plays on these big athletic tight ends. Now, this is a zone defense, all right? And one of the big things about playing zone defense, I mean, you don't want to be covering routes that are under 5 yards in general. So if there's something coming shallow, there's something coming deep, all right? Obviously, they're not quite aligned right, trying to figure things out at the beginning. All right. But Littleton gets out there, right? Kittle's in the flat, and he's aware of him. You can see his eyes locked there on Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's not breaking on it. All right. He's not breaking on it until Garoppolo, really sends him there with the indicators. So look, it's one thing with the eyes. All right. The eyes can lie. All right. We all know that. Just like on a receiver's release, when he's shaking where his head's going, none of that matters. What matters is where his hips are. All right. It's the same thing with the quarterback, right? Where his eyes are, he's trying to look you off. A good quarterback's trying to look you off most of the time. All right. So his eyes don't matter. What matters is his shoulder and the hand on the ball, right? Hand comes off the ball. All right. You can read the shoulder. Sometimes we'll get a full pump fake just like that, right on cue. All right. But you can read the shoulder direction, look for the hand off the ball. And that's the only time you even really think about breaking is when the hand's off the ball. So what's the shoulder going to tell you? All right. So right here, that shoulder is low. That means he's zipping that ball in. All right. Now, because of where Littleton's at, you got to put a little bit of air on this thing if you're going to throw this deeper out route. Right. So that would be a bit of a higher shoulder. So that's what he's going to read there. Right. Now, he does a good job, reads it well, breaks down, makes the tackle on George Kittle. All right. So, we see this this out of Littleton, good job breaking down, reacting to the things that are going on in front of him. And look, at the end of the day, there's people out there saying, well, yeah, it's a completion. Yeah, it's zone coverage. It's fine. Right. Like, they're allowed to complete balls. All right. At the end of the day, it's 2nd and 8. Don't care. All right. 2nd and 8 means nothing to me. All right. So, if we're able to, break on the ball and get a play on the ball, that's fantastic. But with these shorter routes, especially, right, you make the tackle, they don't gain another yard, you're doing fine. That's 2nd and 8. All right. That is not a big deal. All right. What we can't have is them completing the deeper balls. So you don't want your guy to get too excited. Let them complete those deeper balls on you. All right. To the deeper out, because that's a first down throw. That throw matters. All right. So we break. All right. You break and you make the tackle, and you win football games doing things like that. All right. So overall, for his athletic profile alone, Littleton is really the best guy here. All right. This is the hot name in free agency, and for good reason. He does some really good things. And, he's going to be fine in the run game. He's going to make some plays in the pass game, and he's going to be, the type of athlete that you need at that position. And that's huge. And we see the way he can break down, keep things underneath him. We see the way he can match up, get in there on an athletic quarterback, prevent that guy from turning a scramble into a big play for that team. So this is a great pickup if the Bengals can make it happen. All right. But he is going to come with probably the biggest price tag in the group. So there's a couple of options that could be a little bit more economical. And the first one we'll get into, another very popular name, we know Joe Mixon likes him, is Joe Schobert. I almost said Schobert there. That would have been funny. Anyway, Schobert's got some good bursts too. But he seems to be just a little bit short sometimes. Sometimes he kind of dives for tackles. Can get off blocks. Generally he's doing a pretty good job of getting off blocks, getting involved, which is very important for an in-the-box linebacker. Every once in a while he does get caught though. But overall, he's a good player, very aware in zone, does a really good job actually in pass defense. Overall, sometimes you kind of see him like spin around, kind of take his head off the quarterback a little too much and look like he's a little bit lost. But overall, I mean, this would be another great addition for the Bengals. He's going to be most likely a little bit cheaper than what you're getting Littleton at. But still, it looks like these linebackers are all, pushing in the market looking for, like 10 million a year. Martinez recently came out and said that I thought Martinez might be a little bit cheaper, but not looking that way. But Schobert, looking like at least 10 a year, probably. Littleton's going to be up there. Now worth maybe pushing like 15 or so. And again, who knows about this stuff, but that's just kind of what they're saying. What we're hearing right now, and some of that very, very well come from the agents. So you never know. But we'll take a look here. So Schobert right here, he's number 53 for the Browns. So he does a good job here matching up with the tight end in coverage. All right, he's going to shift right there, matches up with the tight end. All right, and right where he needs to be. Okay, obviously he needs to stick with him in the scramble. But pretty good job there. Like I said, he does a pretty good job in coverage. He's a good sized guy that can match up with those guys pretty well. All right, so we'll take a look here a little bit later in the same quarter of the same game, actually. All right, Schobert lined up over the tackle. We're going to get a run play here, and he does a good job. You see a little bit of what I'm talking about in terms of block destruction. So there's a double team here. The center's working up. All right, gets a little extension, uses his hands, shuffles, gets in there, and makes the tackle. All right, so good job there. Not getting blocked. And again, this isn't a tight end trying to block him. All right, this is the center. Big guy. He's able to get off that block and get in there and make a play. So a good job. And definitely a guy that would be an improvement at the linebacker. All right, so similarly, we're going to see Blake Martinez here, number 50. He's going to have the guard getting right up to him, and he again, he's gonna strike the guard. And not get sucked in, get into the gap he needs to be in, and have no problem getting over there and being able to make this tackle. So similar thing here for Martinez. Now Martinez doesn't look quite as good in pass coverage. He's got some positives in both zone and man. He can definitely match up on those guys, but over the course of the year, probably not quite on the same level as Schobert and Littleton. But does some things well. He can fill well in the run game, and he's got really enough speed. Not an absolute blazer or anything like that, but he's got some good functional speed, and again, definitely an upgrade at the position, and a guy that's going to come a little bit cheaper than some of the other guys. So we'll actually take a look just a little bit later in this game. We're going to go into the second quarter, and we'll see a little bit of him in the pass game. So you do see him matching up well in man coverage. So that's definitely a positive for him. And with coming out of the back. So here's the Mike backer. All right. He's man on this back. You get the action. He's patient with it. Back releases out in the flat, and he's right there with him. Obviously, doesn't get too drawn out or anything. Doesn't have to cover for too long, but matches up on him well. Stays with him. And again, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing enough speed in short spaces. You're seeing his ability to match up with some of these guys overall in coverage. So, those are really the top backers coming out. AJ Klein, Nick, I'm not even going to try and say his name from the Bears. Those are guys that I don't see being that much of an upgrade from a Nick Vigil. I don't see a huge improvement there. So I'd like to get a little bit better at the spot, and if you're not able to get better at the spot, I don't want to spend the kind of money that some of these guys are going to cost. I'd rather just try and stay on a budget, upgrade Vigil, and then go about it a different way and hopefully get somebody out of the draft, either in the second round that you can plug and play or somebody that you can develop. I don't think that Klein and Nick Nick K from the Bears, I don't think that those guys are really what you're looking for, and I wouldn't want them to rest their hats and think that was a big improvement. Reggie Ragland from the Chiefs, don't really see a big speed improvement there. Alex Ogletree, pretty good athlete, not really a very good player, and probably going to come with a price tag too. So, I think one of these three guys could really work for the Bengals. I know Martinez is not a guy that, he's a guy that a lot of people don't love. I think he could be an upgrade. I think he could be a real solid acquisition for them and step in and improve this defense. Schobert, obviously, for what he does in the pass game, somebody that stands out. And I think Littleton's overall athleticism, we would make one of those two guys a huge addition. I think they're okay with Martinez. I think they're getting better with Martinez. I don't know about some of these other guys as we look to upgrade that position. I don't know how much you're getting out of those other guys. All right, so this was going to be the portion of the video where I was going to profess my undying love for Brandon Scherff of the Washington Redskins. News coming out, it looks like they will be franchise tagging him. So we will forego that. But really enjoyed watching that guy's film. Obviously, the big name at the guard spot is Joe Thuney. And he's going to come with a pretty hefty price tag, just as Scherff obviously would have. Really, I think the advantage with Thuney is his athletic ability. For a guard, he's really good out in space, a really good athlete. So this is a screen play, and he is number 62, the left guard. All right, you see him getting up there in space. All right, and the guy kind of falls over, but the way he's working up to a defensive back, definitely see some excellent athleticism out of Joe Thuney. So really good movement. He's great coming off of combo blocks and on zone blocks as well. And we're going to go a little bit later in this same game and take a look at that. All right, so again, he's the left guard, number 62. And you're going to see he's got a zone step here. All right, and really, with the zone, you got to figure out where the defensive line is going before you work on to the next level. So it's not, and that's what a combo block really is. It's not a true double team where you're actually getting two bodies on. All right, so this guy stunts across. If he comes over here, Joe's got to get on that. All right, but now he sees it. He steps to his gap. There's nobody on the first level, and then he does a great job getting up to the second level. Very athletic, gets on the block. All right, so that's a good job. And again, I think his athletic ability and the ability to kind of work in space are really the hallmarks of his game and what he brings to the table. That's best for him. Overall, though, I would say his anchor isn't great, which is a problem that a lot of the Bengals offensive linemen have. He does tend to he can kind of bounce back with a little bit, but at first he does tend to get kind of shoved back a little bit on those. So he can fall off blocks also in the run game from time to time. You don't always see him kind of like sticking on those things. But overall, his athletic profile is what really really sticks by and really helps him do well, which is something that the Bengals have lacked a little bit at that position. And he's definitely he's got enough behind him that he can recover when he gets shot back a little bit. But he does get kind of pushed back and shocked back from time to time. All right, so we're going to talk about one more guard, another guy who is a very popular name with the fan base. All right, so Graham Glasgow does show some strength. This play's going to be cut off pretty quickly, but I just like the way he plays in the 3 technique here. All right, the way he gets off there, and you can see that guy's not going to get any push on him. He's not going to be pushed around by that defensive lineman. So he shows some excellent strength, play strength against a strong defensive lineman. And here he is working up to the second level. All right, so he's going to help out his center. Again, he's number 60 at the right guard here. He's going to help out his center, but always, keeping his eyes free, seeing the backer that he needs to be working up to, and then coming off at the appropriate time and getting up there on it. You see he's kind of reaching a little bit, but he's in pretty good shape overall. All right, that guy's fast flowing. He's pushing him right on through. So, Graham Glasgow, obviously, there's a family connection with the Bengals, and he's a popular name as well. Really a tough player. From everything that I see out of him on film, he's a fighter. He's gonna compete. That kind of guy that that we were looking for in Billy Price, and hopefully we're still gonna have in Billy Price. But he's got that to him. I've definitely seen him kind of overcommit and lose on stunts from time to time, which is a problem that a lot of the Bengals had. But some of that can come down to scheme, what you're being taught, how things are being emphasized within your offensive system, within your blocking scheme. So I can't completely fault him on that, because it's hard to know, what his how he's supposed to adjust those things, how he's being taught to adjust those things, because you got to be part of a whole unit with that stuff. So overall, looking at this, I think these are the 2 most important positions that the Bengals need to attack. Getting a linebacker is huge, because to me, my worry is that the Bengals are going to feel like they need to get a linebacker in round 2. And I believe there are some linebackers who could be there with the 33rd overall selection, who are worth that pick, and who very well could be the top player on the board. However, you don't want to be locked into that. You want to have options with that position. And if those guys are gone, you certainly don't want to have to reach. The 33 is basically a first-round pick. So you want to see the Bengals getting a very, very good player in that position, regardless of the position that he plays. So bringing in a linebacker would be huge for that reason. And these guys are going to cost a little bit of money. Hey, you know what? Jermaine Pratt, he's looked good, but he was a 3rd-round pick, and he's it's not like he was tearing up the world. So I don't think signing one of these guys and having Jermaine Pratt as your other starting nickel linebacker, I don't think that prevents you from taking a Patrick Queen or a Kenneth Murray, or one of those guys at 33 if that is the best available player. But it does prevent you from reaching on a guy who maybe isn't a top 50 player, but might be the best linebacker left on your board with a 33rd overall pick. So, and then obviously it's not the end of Pratt. There's the 4-3 base defense, which will be involved there. And there's also, rotations that are used with guys. So, in competition in general. So I think they really need to address that position. I think people would love to see them address the tackle position, but I just don't think that Bobby Hart's going anywhere. So I'm not even really talking about it. But a guard would be an excellent addition. Solidifying one of the guard spots. I don't think John Miller played great, but letting Miller and the Ohio State guys, fight it out for the other guard spot could put them in a good situation. Adding a veteran guard who could be next to Jonah Williams as he's in his de facto rookie season next year would be helpful as well. I mean, that was the original plan with Cordy Glenn, was to have that veteran next to him. So, I think if you look at it, I think Littleton and Thuney are going to be pretty expensive. I think they're going to be they're going to be over 15. I would say, or over around 15. million a year. So those guys are going to be pretty big ads. And I think with Schobert, with Martinez, with Graham Glasgow, you're probably looking closer to 10, maybe upwards of like 12 or so. So I think maybe you can say we're going to make one big acquisition, and it's Thuney or it's Littleton, and then I think you could go with another value pick with the next guy. I mean, it's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not your John Miller value pick. It's not your Kevin Minter value pick. I think you're still getting a high caliber. You're just not getting the top guy there. And I think if you go into you're going out of the first couple of weeks of free agency, and you have acquired the combination of Graham Glasgow and Joe Schobert, or that'll be two of the lower guys, but hey, even that's not too bad. But Joe Schobert and Joe Thuney, I mean, you're doing pretty good with that, right? And we're adding all of our Joes, as people like to joke on Twitter. But I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm feeling pretty good about what the Bengals are doing that. And spending upwards of $25 million on those guys, I'm feeling good. And I think same thing. If they come out and they bring in Littleton and Glasgow, I'm feeling pretty good about the direction and about what they said about going out and making some acquisitions. So we got to be positive, right? We don't know. We don't know what's going on now. Hopefully, it is truly a new day, and we've seen this in the past, where this is an opportunity, and we've seen in the past that teams have been in the position to get the guy at quarterback, and they've started to do some things differently. So. Maybe the administration, maybe the Brown family, the Blackburn family, they see Burrow, they see what he can be, and realize that they could really have a shot. And for all the build around Dalton, they're like, wow, if we build around this guy, we could really have a shot. So maybe they do it. Maybe they open the pocketbooks. Maybe they're a little bit more aggressive in this stuff. I'm not predicting. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it is March, and let's try and feel good for a little bit until we know everything's going wrong. So this is obviously just a couple of quick clips. Not going to spend. I realize most of you don't have hours and hours on end to watch film. So just a couple clips to give you an idea of who some of these guys are and what they can bring to the table. And I think these are the top three linebackers, the top two guards that could be really good targets for the Bengals, and people that, if the Bengals can bring in one guy at each of these positions, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty confident, and I'm liking the prospects moving forward. So we'll get back to some draft content next week. Get into some DBs. Make sure you check out the podcast a little bit later in the week. Stay on the download, and we'll keep bringing these videos to you every single week, breaking down the Bengals, the prospects for the Bengals. When they do make acquisitions, we might look at some of those guys. So we'll keep bringing it. Thank you for watching, and go Bengals.